Running a small business can be very hard. Entrepreneurs wear so many hats: marketer, appointment setter, content creator, consultant. If you're still running your small business on your own, you've just created another job for yourself. Hire help today. Scale your business, attain more clients, and generate more revenue. Let FlexPro Staffing Solutions build your business by hiring a virtual assistant at an affordable cost.
She's a queen. This is dedicated to all my beautiful queens, all my beautiful ladies out there. She's a queen. Go queen. You got it, girl. She's a queen. You better represent. Go queen. Go queen. Go. She's a queen about her business. Queen. Working hard on a mission. Yeah. Head high, purpose driven. Purpose driven. Crown on never tilted. Queen. Go queen. Go queen. Go queen. Go. Represent. You're a queen. You're a queen. Oh. I handle my biz. Call me holy roller. It is what it is. Pull up if you wanna, but Jesus got me covered.
So, thank you guys for joining another episode of the Q Chat. Today, my very special guest is Miss Anisa Fowler. Of course, Anisa's been on our show before. She has this new single out called Jesus All the Way, and there's a remix with D1, Louisiana's own. So I'm so excited to talk with her. So let's go ahead and dive in right now. How are you doing today?
I'm good, Chandra.
Awesome. You look so great. I'm so happy to connect with you again. Your interview last year was one of my favorites. It was so special. And of course, you've been on the cover of the magazine, if anyone can see behind my big head. So you're definitely special to the platform. So I want to start off by what's been new since I talked to you. It's been almost a year, actually, since you've been on the
I
platform.
know it's been a while. It's been a
Yeah.
while, and you still look absolutely amazing.
Thank you. Thank you.
Natural sisters. I got my natural stuff tied up. You know, I gotta have some protective styles sometime, but we natural sisters.
Yes. I'm not wearing my glasses, but I'm sure I got a pair of readers somewhere around. So we were connected. The glasses.
Yes. I mean, things have been really good. Super excited about this new music that's out, and just like really excited about everything that's going on in my life. I feel like God is just continuing to absolutely blow my mind. And I'm just super excited about every single door that's been opened.
Awesome. That's great. And of course, I've been keeping up with you since we met last year. And I know one of the great things that's happening next is this new single, Jesus All the Way. So I definitely want to hear about that. I like the sound of it. It's like it's I don't know, it's like it has like that modern twist on it, like the contemporary gospel singer. So let's
Yes.
hear about this song. Like what brought it in your mind? Were you the writer of it? Like, how did you guys come up with this great song?
So let me tell you, the song started out as a joke, right? Because everybody says, like, Anisa, everything is Jesus. Everything is Jesus. People get into my car, and I'm not always playing music in my car. Sometimes I'm playing the Bible app, and my friends are like, girl, why is the Bible playing in your car? And I'm always like, I mean, Jesus all the way. And so Joshua Arnu, who is my producer, manager, label exec for Arnu Records, he started like messing around with the song.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like a jab at me because I'm always like, everything is Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. And then we were like, wait, this might have a little something.
Mm-hmm.
So then he put some music to it. And I was like, Josh, no, this is no longer a joke. This is real deal. I mean, Jesus all the way. Let's get this on and popping. And at my EP live concert, I did a rap. So I was like, yo, let me rap on the song. And he was like, no, you can't rap on the song, but we're gonna find somebody who can really kill it. And then we got connected to D1, and we were just like praying and waiting for that answer. And I was starting to get nervous. And Josh was like, don't worry, like whatever it's supposed to be is gonna be. And then we got that yes from D1. And I mean, it was like cue the organist, cue the drummer, let's get the shout music going. And we were ready to go. So we're so excited that D1 connected with us on this.
That's great. And it's such a good song. Like I said, I love it. I love the new look that you had for the photo with it and everything. Is it going to be hitting the radio soon?
Yeah. So we pre-order date is going to be May 26th. And then it's going to be available on June 8th, all digital platforms, everywhere, wherever music is sold digitally, it's going to be available. So I'm really excited about that. And I really want everybody to, on that pre-order day, to really like start pre-ordering, pre-order matters so much to artists, because that first day that your song is released, all the pre-orders adds to it. So it makes your first day look that much better. So I really want everybody to support and pre-order.
Awesome. So I have to ask next, when can we get a video for it? I mean, I know that's next, right?
The video is absolutely next. So let me tell you, we know that God is going to help us with this. We're going to be working this, going to radio, doing as many live events, performing it. I actually just left Columbus, Georgia a couple of weeks ago, and I sang the song, even though it wasn't out, and the people went crazy. I had a table that I was selling some merch at, and I said, yo, everybody that gets over the first 10 people that gets to my table is going to get something for free. And everybody bum rushed the table, and they were almost upset that Jesus All the Way wasn't at the table. They were so loving the song. So we're going to be doing a lot of that and pushing it. And then as it rises on radio, once we get to anywhere between top 50, top 30, and yes, I'm putting that in the atmosphere. I'm speaking it as if it is, because I know God is going to open the door. At that point, we're going to release the music video. So we're working on that behind the scenes, cultivating all the ideas with the team. I'm so excited about it. I think I might be in like a core for the video.
Okay. I'm like really excited. I can't even imagine what you guys are gonna do to put that in a video. Like, I'm excited just to know about it. I want to ask you though, just like, okay, so this is the whole way that you guys birthed this song, Jesus All the Way, incorporating Jesus in our lives. Right now, you know, the world tends to be a little negative here and there. Sometimes it's kind of hard to stay positive. So give us some insight on how we can keep Jesus all the way, even when the bank account doesn't look right, when the kids don't act right, you know, when the jobs start tripping. Like, how can we really, truly keep Jesus all the way just to keep us positive and, you know, to keep us happy?
Yeah. You know, I think, you know, and my friends, they joke and they say whatever they say about me, but they know that this is for real. Like, I really live this life. I'm not just singing about it. I really absolutely believe it. And I believe that the word of God is that missing link. We go to church, we listen to the preaching, we have a good time in service, and then we get back home to our real lives. And it's like, what in the world? How do we really get through this? By opening the pages of this book. I'm telling you, the Bible really, really has the answer to everything. And it doesn't mean that life is going to be perfect. It doesn't mean that all of a sudden, because you start reading the Bible, everything is just going to be roses and gumdrops and, you know, sunflowers in your life. Absolutely not. But you have that source. You have that sense of peace that God is with you, that he is in control, and that things may be a surprise to us. Like, we get caught off guard with the various troubles and trials that we go through. But understanding that nothing is a surprise to God really gives us some hope and peace. Like, you know what? This is shocking for me. I didn't expect this to happen in my life, but God knows. So you know what? I'm going to just sit back. I'm gonna relax. I'm not gonna let depression and anxiety and fear and all of that take over. I'm gonna just chill because the word tells me that he's got my back. The word tells me that he's never gonna leave me. He's never gonna forsake me. The word tells me that I'm the apple of his eye. He cares about me. I'm fearfully and wonderfully made, and all of these promises. And so when you begin to regurgitate those things, it changes your perspective. It changes how you handle it. The reason why we're so anxious and so overwhelmed is because we're regurgitating the problems. And we need to start regurgitating the word of God. It will transform everything about what you're going through.
Wow. Whew, that's something I think that a lot of us need right now. Things just seem extra heavy, sometimes.
Yes.
And it's like you have to find that light in the dark tunnel. And it may sound like a cliche to say that, but it's true. I mean, there's a lot of darkness in this world right now. So like we have to find a light, so it's like we need God in order for us to just stay whole, to stay sane, and make some sense out of this world right now. Sometimes, it really is the only way,
It is. And I'm telling you, we are coming out of this sickness kind of a pandemic, and there was all of the fear surrounding what's going to happen to me if I catch this disease and all of that. But the reality is now we're in like a mental pandemic. People are mentally losing it and turning to all sorts of things to find security and find themselves and find their purpose. Everyone has literally lost a grip on who they are. And if you believe that God has created you, if you believe that he is the manufacturer of your life, why not go to him to figure out who you're supposed to be and what you're supposed to do? He's the one that's got the answers. And so I think that because society is pushing so much of self on us, we are turning to ourselves, but we don't know nothing. We don't know nothing. So we got to go to the word. We got to go to Jesus. Jesus is going to take you all the way in everything that you're going through.
I agree. I wanted to ask you too, because I know like in our previous interview, we talked about church hurt. And I think that's a struggle for people sometimes. They want to connect with God, but they may not necessarily want to go to church. Let's just be real about it. Some people, I know like now, people have so many varying opinions on going to church. Like some people, I don't want to deal with that. Some of these churches about money, or they've experienced church hurt. So that they're like, I'm not going to really deal with it. So again, like what's the way that we can maybe find some positivity to help people? Because I know, I feel like right now, like you said, the pandemic right now, we are in a mental health crisis, whether people want to admit that or not. All these shootings and things like that, people are really suffering mentally, walking around with no type of help, just broken. And like I said, I think there's a need for a lot of people to just find something, you know what I'm saying? Find a higher power. I just feel like in order for any of us to grow or be sane, we have to believe in something. And again, that sounds like a cliche to some people, but it's the only way to make sense out of something, to believe in something that's bigger than ourselves. So I guess I'm just trying to ask, what would be the path for someone who they want to connect with? They just don't really know, where to start, because sometimes people are just like, I don't want to deal with church. They connect. They don't really know where to begin, I guess, is the best way to put it.
And I think at the end of the day, for one, back to the word, right? Open the word of God and allow God to begin to speak to you and to minister you through this word. But there's also, I heard somebody say a couple of weeks ago that they were kind of paralleling the church to the gym. And this idea that what we expect out of the gym, if you are overweight, if you are out of shape, if you need that help and you go to the gym, when you get to the gym and you see overweight people, you don't turn around and say, I'm not coming here. When you get to the gym and you see people that don't necessarily look the way that you think you should look, you're not like, you know what, this is a place full of hypocrites. I don't want to be here. I don't want to do that. No, you go, you get on the treadmill, you set your plan, you do what you got to do. You take advantage of the equipment, you take advantage of the personal trainers, and you get what you need out of it. I think too many of us are putting pressure on the church at large to be perfect. And the church is a hospital. The church is a gym. It's a place where all sorts of people, all sorts of situations, all sorts of mental capacities are there. And everybody isn't perfect. And that's from the pulpit all the way to the back door. So you have to go in with your own agenda and understand that the person in charge in the church is God. Period. And seek him first and allow him, you connect with the people that can help you, and people that are a little bit iffy, a little bit suspect, their attitudes ain't all right. Don't abandon the entire church. Don't abandon God because some people aren't where they need to be.
I think that's really going to help some people, what you just said, because again, sometimes it's people sometimes that'll drive you away from connect.
Yeah.
Because I think too, since the pandemic, a lot of rose-colored lenses just kind of fell for a lot of people, and we started like seeing people a little deeper. And sometimes people suck. Let's just be honest.
Yes.
So there's negative energy sometimes, and we have those moments sometimes where it could be somebody in church that may just rub you the wrong way, and you're like, man, I don't want to deal with someone so like I ain't got time for this. But I think what you said really will help somebody, because you're right. Like, we can't always allow a person or people to veer us off a bigger path. So I think what you said is really going to help some people for sure.
Yeah, I hope it does, because I think that is a big situation where people are not getting from God because they are looking at people. And the reality is, all of us mess up. All of us have been in a situation where we were the ones that did the hurt. We were the ones that caused the pain. And if we can understand that and kind of have compassion on people that are going through things that are causing us hurt. And that doesn't mean sit in there and be abused. Absolutely not. You may need to go to a couple of churches before you find that nice, comfortable place. And that place may be comfortable for a year or 2 years. And then you need to go someplace else. You do not have to stay in one particular place. I mean, I'm not an advocate for church hopping, but in the process of figuring it out, there's a season for that. When you're looking for that perfect match in terms of employment, you don't take the first job. You go through a few interviews, and then maybe you take something and you realize, you know what, this is not exactly what I thought it was. You don't put pressure on yourself to stay there. You get up and go to another job until you find that perfect fit, and you stay as long as you can. And then when you hit the ceiling in that place, you move out of that. And I think we put so much pressure on ourselves. And unfortunately, I think leadership contributes a lot to that, because some leaders feel like they own the people and you can't go anywhere and you can only hear from leadership. But when you hear teaching like that, back to the word, if you are in the word for yourself, you're going to know, what, this person is not as mature. This person doesn't have capacity to really process the word and really teach me the way I need to be taught. And you find a place that does. But don't turn your back on God, because people are crazy.
That can be put on a shirt.
Yeah.
Really good. So I want to ask you to, just like I said, you're looking fabulous, you're glowing. So
thank you.
I love it. Like, you look great. So I want to ask you just about, Go Queen is about women and empowerment and just feeling good about ourselves. What are some also words that you could say just about, for women, some of our female viewers or listeners who may tune in, just on finding some peace and finding their purpose, and also just having some peace while you're in that incubation period, that in the meantime, you may be in the meantime waiting for the next job, or you may be in the meantime waiting for that spouse, that husband you're praying for, or in the meantime waiting for your finances to act right, or the kids, whatever that is. What are some tips you could give, some women in particular, just to still feel good about themselves, to still have that light in them, to not let it dim out, Because I think sometimes your spirit gets really heavy when you're going
Yes.
through something, and it's hard sometimes to just, like I said, still find that light. So, what would be some things, some insight you can give for some of the female viewers on just staying focused, on not losing faith, on how they can just stay positive?
I one of the things that I do a lot, I write a lot. I journal a lot. I recently started a thank you journal, and I wake up in the morning and I write down what I'm thankful for.
Mm-hmm.
And some mornings I'm writing the same thing that I wrote the last morning because
Mm-hmm.
I'm still thankful for that thing. But it kind of puts me in a mindset of being grateful for where I am. The book of Philippians tells us that we can do all things through Christ who strengthens us. And oftentimes when we hear that scripture, we think it's like superpower. Like I can be superwoman, I could be super mom, I could be super wife, I can be super whatever it is. But the context of that scripture really is contentment. Because Paul was talking about he knows how to have and he knows how to not have. He knows how to flourish and he knows how to be in a place where he's not flourishing. And he wrote that book while he was in prison. Really, he was awaiting trial, and he's writing this saying, I can do anything. And we have to realize that whatever circumstance and situation we find ourselves in, we can do it. We can go through this period of slow. We can go through this period of hurt. We can go through this period of question mark. I don't know where I'm going. I don't know who I'm supposed to go with. I don't know exactly what I'm supposed to do. We can do all things through Christ that strengthens us. And that means we can be content in any circumstance, in any situation that we find ourselves in. So I would say be intentional about being grateful so that you can remind yourself about the things that you do have, because sometimes we get overwhelmed and consumed with the things that we don't have. Yeah. So that's one big thing. And I think that it's important for us as women to think about the things that we need, to think about the things that we need. You might need a pedicure.
Yeah.
Do that pedicure. Don't feel bad about that. Don't feel guilty about that. You might need to get a facial. You might need to go to the spa. You might need to listen to your body and stop putting off that doctor's appointment. I recently had a couple of procedures done, one on my foot, one on the inside, getting stuff out. And I said, God, you know what? I'm so grateful that I listened to my body. And I didn't allow something to just go too far and cause me even more pain and drama than it needed to. And as women, we put everybody else before us, and we've really got to focus on ourselves and put ourselves first at certain times of our lives, for real.
Right. Definitely. And I know you're speaking to the choir, same thing. Just our health in general. Again, as mothers, especially if you're a single mother, we put everything ahead of us, because we're conditioned in our minds like, okay, that makes me a better mother if, oh yeah, I'm having this pain, but I don't have time for that. I gotta do something with my children, thinking that you're doing something great by putting yourself last, know.
And you know what? We teach our kids to do the same thing. Mm-hmm. And our daughters are growing up, our sons are growing up feeling like self-sacrifice is the only thing that gets praise and applause. And it's not okay to kill yourself in an effort to help somebody else do something. If you run out of all that makes you, you have nothing to give. Mm-hmm. And then what really are people getting? They're getting the leftovers. They're getting the dregs. They're not getting the quality you. You've got to rest. You've got to take time for you. You've got to put a pause and really do what you need to do for you.
You're right. And that's why with my platform, I always tell people, go love yourself. Self-love is important, and again, I think as women, it starts as children where we're taught that if you're being selfish, you put your feelings first, even if you speak up for yourself. Yeah. And again, once you become mothers, being a mother, and it's so ironic to have this conversation right after Mother's Day, but being a mother, I don't think there's not one woman who just had this impression of a mother is just supposed to, you put yourself last. That's what a lot of us are taught, especially if we had good mothers. We're taught, well, you put yourself last, your child comes first. And it took me for my children to get older, going through a terrible divorce, struggling as a single mother for the longest. And I don't just mean financially, I mean emotionally burdened as a single mother. Okay. Yes. Where I had to really learn the hard way my children actually technically don't come first. And it was a hard realization. Just like when you're on the plane and they tell you to put your mask on first.
Yes.
It took me being overworked, putting myself totally last. Like, I'm not putting my mask on first. This isn't making any sense. I
Yeah.
can't do anything for my children if I'm empty.
Yes.
And a lot of us don't realize that, or we realize it, after years of struggling, or just, thinking, well, this is what a good mother does. We're supposed
Yeah.
to overwork. We're not supposed to even take
Yeah.
care of ourselves physically or mentally. That's what we're supposed to do. That's what we're conditioned into thinking. And that's just so sad and terrible, because it doesn't benefit anyone in the long run. It definitely doesn't benefit your children. They need a whole mother, a happy,
Yes.
healthy one,
Yes.
not empty vessels. But that's not doing anything for your kids. And it's not good examples either.
Yes, it really, really isn't. I think it's something that we have to be intentional about, because life just happens and we forget. We
Yeah.
forget to do what we're supposed to do.
Mm-hmm. And I wanted to talk to you as well. And I also had surgery last year, and I was just telling my son today, like, that really changed my life. Like, I just feeling better physically. And
Mm,
it's ironic, I put my surgery off for a exact year, because I
wow.
was like, I don't have time to like take off for 8 weeks. Like, but I just thought it was so ridiculous. The whole thought of it. I'm like, 8 weeks. I'm like, how am I gonna take off?
Right. Like, ain't nobody got time for that.
I was like, okay, who's going to take care of my family? I'm like,
Yeah.
8 weeks. And months later, my body was like, are you serious? Like,
Mhm.
really, girlfriend? Like, really, 8 weeks? Like, you going to sacrifice your life for 8 weeks? I was like begging the doctor, I need a surgery now. I was like, well, look, I don't have a schedule of free time
Yeah.
until
Yeah.
a whole year, and once I had the surgery and those 8 weeks went by really fast, my house didn't burn down, my children didn't starve. I have older kids, like, no one, lost their minds. And I
Yeah.
think about it, I'm like, you really sacrificed your life for 8 weeks.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
went by super fast. But again, that's the way we're conditioned. So I wanted to ask you just about, as you mentioned, it's so easy sometimes to focus on what we don't have sometimes, or what's not going right sometimes, instead of focusing on being thankful. And it's funny, because I think a theme that's been coming to me just in conversations I've had from people is gratitude, being grateful for what you do have.
Yeah.
And I wanted to ask you, how has gratitude played a role in your life? Because I know you mentioned that earlier, just, writing things down and writing what you're thankful for. So how has gratitude been a huge factor in your life?
Gratitude, I'm telling you, has been that perspective shift for me.
Mm.
And I really encourage women and men. But I know this platform is a lot about women. So we're talking to the ladies. You
Mm-hmm.
got to be grateful. You have to be grateful for every solitary thing that you have. And the thing about it is, when I say perspective shift, it's also an atmosphere shift. It shifts it shifts the energy that's in your space. When you're constantly, oh my God, I wish I had this. Oh my God, I can't believe this didn't happen. Oh my goodness, this failed. Oh my goodness, this messed up. That didn't go as planned. And you're constantly frustrated and constantly articulating out of your mouth the pain and the anger and the disappointment. More of that seems to come into your space. But
Right.
the moment I begin to say, God, you know what? I am so grateful for my children. I stop thinking that they're so annoying.
Yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
I start thinking, you know what? This personality is just like, it brings so much joy. My son, I call him the comedian of the family. He's constantly cracking jokes. Some of the jokes is like, they're so whack. That's what makes them funny.
Yeah.
But it's like, it changes the way that I receive him. It
Yeah.
changes the way that I receive their situations and how I mother them. When I go into work, if I'm just constantly like, oh my God, I'm sick of this job. I'm sick of this job. I'm sick of this job. When I get there, I almost have no energy. But when I say, God, I'm so grateful for this job. I'm so grateful that I get to lead these people. I'm so grateful that I get to impact these people. I'm so grateful that I get to teach. I'm so grateful that these people trust me and that I have a job. There's so many people that don't have a job. My perspective shifts. The atmosphere in that office shifts. And people are like, they love working with me. And I'm like, that's because I got Jesus on the way. Hey.
Mhm.
I think it changes everything. We have to be grateful for every situation, whatever you have. Somebody don't got that and would love it, would kill for it. So thank
Mhm.
God for it.
I think that's such a hard thing sometimes for people to, because, like I said, it's so easy sometimes to get wrapped up in something negative or what is not going well. So in your mind, you're like, wait, somebody really wants to trade places in my situation. And we just don't acknowledge some of the blessings. And I'm not saying it to maybe have like any type of toxic positivity, because of course, things don't go right sometimes, and that's part of life, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Things are unfair sometimes. But even in those situations, I just think, we don't even realize that we still have blessings, even in some of our worst situations. Like, we still have breath in our body to
Yeah.
even speak that we're having a bad day. Some people can't even do that,
Yeah.
and again, it's not even to, diminish what people are going through. But again, when you try to flip that lens and try to find the positive light, it really can make a big difference in your life in general. And it will help you get over some of those bad times too, because if you focus on some good things, it just helps your perspective. It even helps you physically, mentally,
Yeah.
emotionally. It's just a plus when we do focus on the good things. So I
Yeah,
want,
absolutely.
right. So I want to go back to the music with
Okay.
Jesus All the Way. So are you gonna have an album next? Like, what can we expect next on the music front?
So Jesus all the way is that kind of we really wanted to put something out for the summer that was going to be that jam, that roll your windows down, get excited about Jesus. The EP that I released last year, I did the live recording. I did a live recording of every single song on that EP. So before this year is out, or maybe at the top of 2024, certainly expect the live EP to come out. I can't wait, because we did some tricks and
Okay.
did some added reprises. And so I'm really excited about the live EP. So it was Anisa the Next Chapter, and it's going to be Anisa the Next Chapter live. I can't wait.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you think that there's pressure sometimes as a gospel artist, because with contemporary gospel, especially for some of us that grew up on the traditional gospel music, is there pressure sometimes to like, oh, let me not make it too funky? Like, is there any pressure like that sometimes?
Oh my God. That is the best question. Listen, I feel a lot of pressure. So I've come from a very strict Pentecostal background.
Mm-hmm.
As simple as like my earrings, no,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely not. You
Yeah.
cannot, you can't wear earrings,
Right.
certainly can't wear pants. This Jesus All the Way is the first cover that I'm in a pair of pants on.
Mm-hmm.
And my stylist has been like, girl, free yourself. And I'm like, no, but the people not gonna think I'm holy.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of pressure as to what does a Christian look like and what does Christian music sound like. And I've had to tell myself, Anisa, you just got to be you. You
Yeah.
just got to be you. And I think it manifests itself in everywhere, not just music. There's somebody right now that's writing a book and maybe nervous about the content of the book. There's somebody that wants to do a play and maybe nervous about what they should show and what they should not show. Listen, let God lead you, let God direct you. People are going to talk no matter what. I could wrap myself up and only show my eyes, they still going to talk.
Yeah.
So I say, you know what? I'm going to let modesty be the thing. Like, there's certain things you'll never see because I don't think you should ever see it.
Yeah.
But I'm going to be modest. And I've always been covered up. I've always, and when it comes to like the sound of the music, first of all, music came from heaven. It's the one thing that I believe that, when we leave this earth and we're in heaven, we're not going to need no preachers. We're
Yeah.
not going to need no, teachers and all of that stuff, but we sure are going to be worshiping. There's going to be music.
Mhm.
God created music. And I think that so many of us have allowed just our warped thinking to say, oh, this music belongs to the devil. Absolutely not. The devil stole the music and twisted it and did whatever he wanted to do to it. But you could rock out for Jesus. You could rap out for Jesus. You could do whatever you want for Jesus. You could do that disco stuff. I forget what you call that. But that
Yeah.
house music. That's
Yeah.
what it is. House music.
Mhm.
Whatever it is, it's about the message. The actual music in of itself, that does not belong to the devil. There is no music that belongs to the devil.
Mm. I've had many personal struggles. I've gone through mental, physical, emotional abuse. I've also grew up with low self-esteem, not feeling my value, not understanding how worthy I was. And I was able to learn through the power of self-love to overcome those sinking feelings, to be healthy, healed, and whole. I know how hard it can be to just find your place. Some of us are still struggling. We want to find our place in this world and we want to know our purpose. And sometimes that purpose may be being healthier. Sometimes that purpose may also be leaving that 9 to 5, leaving that toxic work environment. Sometimes that healing may look like just simply being healthy, happy, and loving yourself, being out of that low self esteem. That's why I created Go Queen. I wanted to reach out to other women and show them that you may have been knocked down a few times, but you definitely will not be counted out. You can take that pain that you've experienced and you don't have to be ashamed. You can take that pain and you can build your purpose. Life is so short. We are not allotted the time that we arrogantly think that we have. We have to live in our dreams and purpose right now. So, what's stopping you? Maybe you don't know how to manage your time properly. Maybe you're thinking, hey, I have this 9 to 5. I don't have the time to follow that dream, and I'll just put it off on the back burner. But one thing I can tell you that is guaranteed, each and every one of us has a day and a time when we will no longer be on this earth. So you don't have the time to waste anymore. As a purpose coach and brand strategist, I'm committed to helping women of color rise above their challenges and create purposeful and passion driven brands. You can reflect your unique story. Let me be your guide in this journey of healing and growth. You don't have to let your past hold you back from a bright future. You can turn your pain into power. You deserve to win.
Of the trauma, strutting like a rock star. Watch me while I walk in my tin foot stilettos. Can't nobody get to me. Here we
I have had friends I know that they could not listen to certain things, or it was just like, it was a huge, issue with
Yep.
that.
I'm one of those friends where
Yeah.
there was no secular music
Yeah.
played in my house. No
Right.
secular music was allowed. And as I raise my kids now, I'm mindful because if I just say y'all can't do nothing, I won't hear what they're listening to. So
Yeah.
there's certain things that if it's vulgar, if you disrespecting women, if it's nasty language, if the content of the music is what's important, but the
Yeah.
actual music itself, how can you say a particular drum beat is a certain thing? It's all about the content of it. So we listen to content. My kids will be like, Mom, listen to this artist. And I'll sit there and I'll listen. And I'll be like, wait, what did he say? What did she say? What does that mean? What does that mean to you? Before I just say, absolutely not. None of that in my house. That's ungodly. No.
Mhm.
I welcome it all so that I can hear what are y'all interested in and why are you interested in? And
Mhm.
how does this make you feel? And when you're done listening to this, what do you feel like doing? And we have those open conversations around it. And I think if we have this blanket X no, we
Yeah.
miss out on opportunities to connect with people.
Right, right. And I was planning to ask you that actually, just what was your take on secular music? Because I know not everybody is cool like that. They don't,
Yeah.
they struggle, I think, sometimes with secular, and just being a Christian, like, oh wait, I shouldn't listen to this, and I agree with you, like certain things, especially when you're a mother, it's like you hear some of the stuff your kids are playing, it's like, now
What?
that's a little bit too much,
Yeah.
like you need to.
I think that when it comes to music, it's really what is the intention of this song? What does this song do? Because music is very spiritual. Whether it is gospel music, it's rock music, it's rap music, it's classical, there is a spirit behind every single song that's released out there. There's a spirit behind people as well. You notice that certain people, their album, the entire album is, I'm so sad because I lost somebody. And when you talk to them, what's the story behind that? I was going through a breakup. I was going through this. I was going through that. So there are spirits and circumstances that lead people to write certain things, to present certain things to the public. And we have to just be mindful. Y'all not going to play Jesus all the way at during your honeymoon. It's not going to set the atmosphere. But as Christians, you may not want to listen to a love song that's vulgar, though. You want something that's clean. So I think it's important for us, as opposed to just Xing it out completely, to really listen to the content and understand the spirit behind certain people. And that's not just secular music. Let's be real. There are people that are quote unquote gospel artists, and you're like, whoa, what kind of life? What's happening? Right. And that can be a problem as well. There's a spirit behind that sound. And you're listening to something that you think is gospel, but really that spirit of disobedience and antichrist is beginning to permeate your mind, permeate your house. And you don't need that, even in gospel music. So we just have to be sensitive. We have to allow God to speak to us. And that Holy Spirit that resides inside of us, it's going to check us. It's going to check you. And when you feel, this isn't so good, listen to that. And just and don't engage in that particular song or artist.
Right. That's very true too, because sometimes things can be deceiving, and you think listening to something positive, but that's not really, like you said, spirit and energy is real. So especially now in the world we're living in now, we really got to be careful not to get wrapped up in any type of dark spirited things. Like that's important. I want to ask you too, with secular music and contemporary gospel, like I want to ask you, like sometimes people may take a contemporary gospel song and they may try to blend something, from secular music, and some of the older church folks, they'll be like, nah, we not into that. Like, what's your feeling with that too? Like, is it okay? Like, or just like, what do you think about that?
Again, I think it goes back to the spirit behind the thing. And we have to be mindful. If a song was, let's say, sexual in nature, those were the words behind that song. It doesn't matter how much Jesus you slap on it. When you play that melody, when you play that particular lick, whatever it is, people's minds are going to go to that place. So I think we just have to be careful. I don't think it's a blanket. No, you cannot combine songs from secular songs with Christian songs. You have to be mindful. We have to be wise in everything that we do. And we have to be considerate of what's going on in a particular congregation. If the congregation is, full of older people, you're going to have to be mindful of that. You're going to be stepping on a lot of toes if you do too much stuff that's out the bag. So I think that we have to be sensitive to each other. There's a scripture that says, know them that labor amongst you, and to handle them with knowledge. And that's what's important, that we understand who we're with. What church are you a part of? You cannot come before a congregation that's mostly seniors with a rap song. That does not mean that rap song wouldn't work in another congregation that's mostly young people. So that's why I say it's not a blanket no, or a blanket yes, but we have to be sensitive to the spaces, to the houses, to the congregation, to the makeup of the places that we enter. We have to be, even for me, if I go to certain events, like an outdoor event, I can do one thing, an inside event, I can do another thing. And that doesn't mean one song is better or worse than the other, but there's a time and a place for everything. And that equals music too.
Oh, yes, definitely. Now, I want to go back to Jesus All the Way.
Yes.
Now, for anyone who may not have heard the song, what is like your favorite line in the song?
Ooh, call me holy roller. It is what it is. That's like my feet on the ground. I am standing on that. I love Jesus all the way. Call me whatever you want to call me. It is what it is. It's about Jesus for me, and that's it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Love it. Now, I know last time you were on the platform, I had hit you with a question on some songs you would choose. So I would want to ask you again something similar. What is on your playlist right now? Or can you give us a good playlist that we can just,
Ooh.
because I like to listen to gospel while I'm driving, which is not always a good thing when you really get wrapped up into something. I never
Oh
forget.
my God. And then you're crying on the
Yeah, like
parkway.
yeah, so like you gotta kind of watch what gospel songs. I'm gonna give everybody that warning when while you're driving. I never forget I was listening to Kirk Franklin's Without You. I was driving to New Orleans. I almost drove clean through a light because I was so wrapped up in the song. So
Yeah.
I don't suggest that to everybody or watch what type of songs they don't. But can you give us a good playlist? Or
Ooh.
it could be your songs or some of your favorite artists. Just throw something out there for us.
Yeah, I mean, some of my absolute favorite artists, especially right now, Kiara Sheard, I
Yeah.
think she is just hitting all the spots, and she is a
Mhm.
great example of various types of music, various sounds. The
Yeah.
message is clean, the
Mhm.
message is uplifting, and
Yeah.
she'll put any beat on the song and kill
Yeah.
it, whether it's
Yeah.
deep worship or not. So she's
Mhm.
amazing. That Tasha Cobb, she has a song, I'm Getting Ready, and it
Mhm.
starts with eyes haven't seen, ears haven't heard. And that has been something that I'm like, God's about to blow my mind. I say it so much, and He really has been. Every single time I say it, He does something that's like, you did that, Lord?
Mhm.
So that's another good one. And I love Tasha Cobb. She's got that worship vibe. Pretty much any song that she sings takes me in. So I love her. Yolanda Adams is one of those old school gospel artists that will be timeless. So any of those, I'm always listening to. Oh my goodness, Ty Tribbett. I just
Mhm.
recently went
Yeah.
to a concert. That man is an absolute genius.
Yeah. Mhm.
Absolute genius. And I love his stuff. His music is crazy.
Yeah.
Like his stuff is for the musicians, it's for the singers,
Yeah.
it's for everybody. So Ty will have me driving through a light for sure.
Yeah. You name some people that's in like my little playlist now. I definitely listen to Kiara Shear, Ty
Yeah.
Tribbett. I love listening to Hezekiah Walker, lift him up when I'm driving too.
Yes.
So yeah, like you definitely named some good ones for sure. So
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you again, like I always end everything asking about self-love. So we definitely hit on some good points, just loving ourselves, also just how we can let God in to let him lead the way, of course. I wanted to ask you again, ending out everything, just how do you define self love? And also, how do you define self love from a spiritual perspective? Because I realized recently I do talk about self love a lot, but I thought to myself one time, I don't want anyone to ever think that we're erasing God. Like, He
Mhm.
is the ultimate example of true love. So I was like,
Yes.
I gotta make sure, you know, people know what I'm talking about. Like, yeah,
Yes.
we have to
Yes.
love ourselves, but He is the ultimate example of love. So I want to ask you, of course, how do you define self love? Also, from, like I said, from the spiritual perspective, because we definitely don't want to take away from God's love. And what role has that self love played in your life?
Self-love for me in this season has been a lot about honesty.
Mm-hmm.
A lot about honesty, and especially as a single mom, uh, wanting partnership and
Yeah.
being honest about that. I am definitely, all the banners and signs for I don't need a man, those are burnt because I
Mm-hmm.
do.
Yeah.
Right. And like, so I'm honest about that. I don't want to speak anything that I don't mean in my life. And that is self love. That is self care. I'm also honest when I witness a red flag in my life, that
Mm-hmm.
I don't just think, you know what, I'm at a carnival. No, this is not a carnival. It's a red flag. I've got to stop. I've got to pause. I've got to address this thing. Therapy has been a huge thing for me,
Mm.
and I feel like it's therapy and my Bible, therapy and my Bible. Because we understand if you walk into the street and a car hits you, or you stumble and you're bleeding, you're going to go to the doctor. You're going to figure out what's happening. And so many of us, especially for us in our community, we
Yeah.
shy away from that because something about therapy equals I'm not strong. And we take
Yeah.
so much pride in being strong that acknowledging that this is a place that I'm weak. This is a place that I'm hurting. This is a place that I need help. Sometimes it's difficult for us. And I've been
Mhm.
an advocate for therapy for the last, I would say, about 2 years or so, because
Mhm.
it's been really helpful for me. My therapist, we talk about everything. And I get off of my therapy session and I open my word and I say, God, help me to apply these things that I have come to understand. Help, give me the strength, give me the courage to stand, to do what you're saying for me to do, to be honest with myself, to let go of things that are hurting, that are hurtful to me, and to really embrace God's love, God's care, God's purpose. I don't let nobody tell me who I'm supposed to be at
Mhm.
all. I don't let anybody tell me that what I'm doing is not God's purpose.
Yeah.
He told me what to do. And so I feel like the more we connect with him, the more we can have confidence in what it is that he said to us, and the more we can say no.
Mm.
Is a really important word. The more we can say no to people, yes to him, and operate fully in our purpose.
I'm gonna add another question now
Okay.
because like you mentioned therapy, and
Yeah.
therapy, like same here. Like I'm a huge cheerleader for therapy. I just think it's so important. And again, I know, as you said, therapy is really hard for some people, or some
Yeah.
people are just completely against therapy, and I think too, if you're raised to pray when you have a problem, some people struggle. Well, how am I supposed to tell like this man, a woman, my problems?
Yeah.
I think people struggle with prayer life and therapy, and I think some people can't really articulate that because it's like, well, they feel like maybe they're betraying their spiritual life.
Oh, I know that. Yeah.
So how do we erase that struggle? How do we navigate that stigma? Because I think a lot of people struggle with that because it's like, well, if I'm supposed to pray about my problems, how does a therapist fall into play? Because a lot of people are struggling, and I do not knock prayer and going to church, obviously, but some people just, they don't factor in therapy with that life because they don't see how it works. So how
Yeah.
do you break through those
I
barriers?
think for me, it goes back to the example of that person that's sick.
Mhm.
Because when the tangible things that go wrong with us, what we can see if our limb is broken, we can see if we're bleeding, we can see the injury when it's physical.
Mhm.
And so we understand we can go to this doctor. Nobody gets hit by a car and says, no, 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 call Jesus.
Mhm.
No, it's call 911. Get an ambulance here. I will pray while I'm in the ambulance and I'm texting, tell the pastor, tell the church, pray for me. But I'm going to the emergency room. And
Right.
so it's hand in hand. Our heart situations, we can't see it.
No.
Our mental situations, we can't see it. And that's the difficulty. But understand that if your heart is broken, you need to be healed. And there are people that specialize in hearts. There are people that specialize in the psychology and sociology of our human makeup. And these people are able to help navigate us through the mental crises that we're going through. And they are skilled. They've studied. They know, okay, if you talk about this, if you write this down, if you engage in this way, you're going to be healed. You're going to train your mind, teach your heart how to recover. In the same way that you go through physical therapy,
Yeah.
there's emotional therapy.
Right.
And that's, I think, the difficulty is that we can't see when our heart is broken. We can certainly feel it, but we
Right.
can't see it. If our heart was in physical pieces, we would run to someone.
Yeah.
And so we have to just tell ourselves, listen, me going to this person is not me abandoning God. When I go to the doctor, I am not abandoning God. Faith without works is dead. I believe in God, but I'm also going to partner with him and do everything that I can, take advantage of every resource that's available to me and get my healing.
Mm-hmm. Mm. You're right. Faith without works is dead. So, and I thought about that too, even when I was asking you that, because again, our prayer life, it also requires action.
Yes,
So I would hope that some people can get past that, because I know it's really hard, and I understand some people, they just don't feel comfortable
yeah,
with talking to a person. But I always tell people, choose a therapist that looks like you, number one. I mean, that's just my personal opinion,
I agree 100%.
because I feel like I need a therapist that at least understands the racial and cultural trauma that we've gone through. So pick
Yes,
a therapist I feel that looks like you and that you're comfortable with. And
yeah,
again, just like if sometimes we go to a doctor and we're like, I don't really care for this particular doctor, I'm going to find another one. Like,
correct.
just please, just find someone that you're comfortable with, because it really will change your life. It will change your perspective. And it's very, very, very important, because again, like you said, a lot of us, we have these broken hearts. Our mind is just troubled. I mean, look at what's going on in this world. Mental health is real. We really need to cater to our mental health, and therapy is extremely important. So definitely
Absolutely.
thank you so much for that. So before we end everything, and of course, this has been an amazing conversation as usual.
Yes.
I didn't expect anything less. So I want you to tell everybody how they can pre-order this single. Are you going to be hitting the road soon? Just tell everybody how they can connect with you and contact you and follow you. So give everybody all the information. And of course, like I said, start off on how they can pre-order this single.
Okay, so if everyone, you can follow me on Instagram at Anisa Worships, Anisa Worships with an S. Follow me there for all the updates and everything that's dropping. The I Mean Jesus All the Way is going to be available for pre-order on May 26th. And there's a lot going on. I can't say everything in this moment, but I promise you, if you follow me on social media, you'll see every place that I'm going to be. I'm doing a really big event for Juneteenth. I'm going to be in Vegas for the Stellars. There's a lot coming up. I'm super excited about it all. But follow me on social media so you know exactly where I'll be and you can stay connected. And the song, again, is dropping on May 26th for pre-order.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you again for this wonderful conversation.
Thank you.
Speaking with you. And again, everyone that tuned in, make sure you guys pre-order the single Jesus All the Way, and follow Anisa to be updated on all the great things she has going on. Also, I hope you guys took in a lot of great gems. It's just okay to be okay. It's okay to work on your spiritual life. It's okay to know that you're valuable. And also, knowing that you're valuable means that you are deserving of God's love, the ultimate form of love. You are deserving to love yourself and take care of yourself by any means. Faith without works is dead. So it's okay to take care of your body, take care of your mental health, just take care of yourself emotionally so you can be whole, so you can walk in God's purpose and walk in God's love. In order to walk in his purpose, it's okay to just know yourself and to take care of yourself. If you're hurting, you have to fix it, because you deserve to be healed,
Yeah.
healthy, and whole. So thank you.
Dylan must have did this beat.
Are you ready to join the new workforce solution? Currently, many people are working from home right now during the pandemic and also the recession. Many Americans are finding flexible ways to earn a living and support their family on their terms. Many name brand companies utilize customer service in order to thrive. Little did you know that a lot of those agents are sitting at home, just like you. Contact FlexPro today and learn more on how you can make money, earn a living, have flexibility, more time with your family on your own terms.